Hello, we're live. Welcome to the very first show of So Here We Are. Uh, so tonight we finally get down to the nitty gritty, right? Uh, how we met, the things that make us quirky, the things that have made us who we are. So we want to tell you a little bit about ourselves and just kind of what this is. Some of you have been following us for the past month or so on our little uh, quick videos and our little snippets here and there. So what we want you to know is that I am a pastor of a church, but this is not church time. This is not a sermon time. So uh, the scripture and the things of God are in me. So yes, sometimes they will come out. I am a preacher. It is my life, but I also do other things, and so this is not going to be a church time or a sermon time. This is about us. It's about our relationship, our kids, our lives, the quirks, the ups and downs, the ins and outs, the things that we've had to struggle through to get us to the point that we are today. We are 18 years strong in our marriage, and we are doing fine. So if it can happen to us, it can happen to you. So we want you guys to come along with us on this little journey and the things that we have going on. We want you to see that it's possible to make it through it. Trust me, our lives are not perfect. Our lives are far from perfect. Wait till you hear some of the details, some of the things that go on in our lives, and you'll see some of the struggles and how we've made it through. And I will tell you that in-laws make it interesting, right?
Yep.
So we will get to the part where I'm the talker and Tiffany is not. So see this little camera right here, Tiff?
Yep.
Look right in there.
Okay.
So here we are. So that's our introduction. That's kind of what we're about, and we'll get rolling here. So we want to say thank you to the folks that are watching. We want to thank you for those that'll catch us on the replay, and just hope that this just really becomes something that you look forward to every week. So we know it's Super Bowl Sunday, and we know that some of you are crazy, crazy, crazy Super Bowl fans, even if your team is not in it. And you know, several years ago, before I quit watching it, the commercials were what really made me watch the Super Bowl. Because I'll tell you, and don't beat me down over this, I am a Dallas Cowboys fan. I'm used to seeing my team lose. Okay. I love the Dallas Cowboys, but I'm used to seeing them lose. When they do great, we cheer, we rant, we rave. But so I have not been very interested in the Super Bowl in several years, as you can see. So getting along, going through our show here. So I have some questions that I want to ask Tiffany, and then she's going to ask me some also. So you can kind of uh, get a feel of what we've been through and where we're at. So Tiffany, first off, um, what would you describe your past? One word. How would you describe your past?
One word is too hard, so I'll do a few words, but I would say a lesson well learned.
Okay, okay. A lesson well learned. Okay, a lesson well learned. So why would you say that it was a lesson well learned? What makes you come to that?
Just different struggles, different uh
Wait.
wait.
Struggles?
Yep,
You're a preacher.
struggles.
You're a preacher's kid. How did you have struggles?
Any preacher's kids out there? Were y'all perfect? Nope.
Right.
Anyways, struggles and I don't know, just God bringing you through things so we could be right here right now.
Were you an only child?
No.
So these things are important. People need to know, right?
Right.
So you say a lesson well learned.
Hmm.
Uh, so you want to elaborate, like, on why it was a lesson, why there were struggles?
Well, typically I was a good kid. No lie. I was a good kid until 16, 17, and I started throwing in a little bit of drinking, and I guess it kind of went downhill for a few years from there, but I still wasn't a terrible kid, just not a great kid.
Okay. Okay. So, uh, as far as I'm concerned, uh, I would describe my past as colorful.
Colorful.
Mm-hmm.
What does that
Yeah,
mean?
it was all over the place. So not only did I come from a broken home, I saw the struggle of my mom and her marriage to my dad, and they were divorced when I was very young, my sister and I, and then I had a stepdad for 10 years, and in the beginning everything was cool, but then things got pretty rough. Things got uh, pretty wild. And then after that divorce, when I saw my mom go through the second divorce, then uh, things were pretty tough. So you can kind of understand why I could say that my past was colorful, and you see why I put so much stake in us being together for 18 years. That my biological parents didn't make it 10 years. My mom's second marriage barely made it to 10 years. And so 18 years for me coming from a difficult background and having the things of my past. My dad was a was an alcoholic. He was a functioning alcoholic, if that is really a thing. So my dad would get up and go to work and then come home and drink. So there was no real relationship there. So another thing that I struggle with is, how to make this parenting thing work. Uh, and I have a man in my life right now, actually two men in my life that really care for me, and one is my stepdad, and the other is my father-in-law. And I would be able to tell you that without those two guys really being influential in my life, I would have really gone off the deep end, and Tiffany and I probably would have never really made it very far. So as far as like social past, how I was socially, I wasn't like the awkward kid. I was wild and crazy and always just grabbing for everybody's attention. And I I was like Tiffany, right about 16, 17 is when I started hanging out with some folks that were a little wilder than what I was used to, and started hanging out with some older folks and started partying, started hanging out,
Yep.
and doing things that I shouldn't have done. Um, Probably going places that I should have never gone to. Um, and so, what about you? Like, as far as like socially, were you like? And so I'm not trying to put a label on you or anything here, but these folks want to know, you were a preacher's kid. So were you socially awkward, or were you like, were you outgoing? What?
I'm probably socially awkward now, but
So
actually, believe it or not, in high school, I was not socially awkward. I made friends with everybody. Actually, now I went to a really small school, so it's not impressive, but I was voted homecoming queen 3 times of my 4 years in high school. And obviously, it wasn't because of my good looks here, but I had a good personality. I made friends with everybody. I wanted to make sure that everybody was included and that everybody felt a part of everything.
okay, so we were generally the same socially. Like it was easy to make friends. It was easy to be a part of the crowd and always be able to uh, get the attention that we needed and things like that. And uh, so moving on, relationship wise, just before Tiffany and I met, I'd had some rough relationships, and I actually had one that was very, very toxic. And I'm not going to say that either person was more to blame. I think it lied on both of us. But it just became a situation where, it's like, who's going to get out first? Who's going to actually just finally get tired of being miserable and make a move? So situations happen, and some really crazy situations happen. We may get into that further down the road, but everything just finally came to an abrupt end. And so I went for a few months just by myself, just really hanging out with some buddies. And that was a terrible time in my life. I was heading down a dark road that was just going to be heavily paved with drinking and partying and things like that. And then one day, here's how we met. Here's the purpose for our show is I got invited to do something really redneck and just as country as it can be. Something normal for me was a buddy of mine. He called me and said, "Hey man, you want to go run the river? We got to run some lines. We got to check everything we've got put out." And so I was like, "Yeah, sure." So he said, "Well, my girlfriend's coming, and I think she's got a friend coming." So obviously my ears perked up, right? So when my ears perked up, I'm like, okay, well, I've been single for several months now. Let's see what's going on here. Let's see who this friend is, and see where this could go. And obviously Tiffany said hi, so she also gave it away. She was the girl that showed up on the boat that day. So I met the love of my life, the wife of my dreams, on a fishing boat on the Hatchie River.
Right. And I was totally dressed to meet some dude. I worked at FedEx at the time. So I was dressed in some blue jean shorts with some tall socks and some steel toe boots with a shirt, my sleeves all rolled up.
And the redneck side of me is like, hey.
Oh, gosh.
So I didn't meet her in a bar. I did not meet her out on some dance floor. I didn't meet her on some dating site.
I have great dancing skills, by the way.
Right. You're going to have to break those out one day. So we get on here, and so we get going down the river, and I notice that she doesn't notice me. And so we have put the feelers out there and just try to check with some of you that we wanted to know how you met. And so we have a couple that's been in our lives for a few years now, and they met in a similar sort of way where he had to chase her, and he chased her and chased her and chased her. She would not give him the time of day, but finally she gave in, and they've been married. They've blended their huge families. Like they both had huge families, and so now they have a ginormous family that has all come together. And so great things come about from the chase. And so she would not look at me. She was wearing sunglasses, and I was paying attention. I was desperately trying to get her attention. Like, why? I'm so outgoing. I am so attractive.
Yes, you are.
If I can be a little conceited here, right? So, I'm trying to think, why won't this girl notice me? I have never been anywhere where I couldn't get a girl's attention. And whether she wanted to date me or not, I could still get the girl's attention. And this girl would not look my way.
No. So backstory to that was I also had been in a relationship for maybe just over 2 years that I wouldn't call it toxic, but it definitely wasn't ideal. So I was not looking for a guy, no matter what. I had in my head, I was not paying any attention to this dude, no matter what he did. No matter what he did, I wasn't going to give him the time of day.
So here we are cruising down the river, and we get a couple lines run, and I'm kind of nudging at my buddy here and like, hey dude, what's up with this girl? Why won't she look my way? And he's like, I know how you can get her attention. So here it is. I was a mooner. It didn't matter time or place. I'd drive through McDonald's parking lot or McDonald's drive through and I'd hang my butt out the window. I think everybody in Tipton County has seen my behind.
Yes.
And so I had no shame and I had no remorse. I didn't care who was in the car. You know, if I could get a reaction of just shock and terror, hey, that was the best place for me to do it. So I showed my butt a lot. So my buddy says, "Hey, why don't you just moon her? Either she's going to be on board or she's going to jump out this boat." And so I was like, "Okay, here we go, sink or swim time, honey. You're going to pay attention or not." And so of course I moon both the girls in the back of the boat or in the front of the boat. He and I were in the back, and so it kind of broke the ice just a little bit because I think she saw this crazy little dude here, and I'm telling you, little dude, because at the time I was very small. But like she started to kind of look my way, and so that evening we went back to her friend's house, and we were hanging out, and they're like, "Hey, let's go swimming." And I was like, "Well, shoot, you know, it's not exactly really warm outside yet. It was still very early summer.
It was late June.
No, it wasn't late June. It was because we started dating in June, and so it was the beginning of June.
Still too cold to swim.
Yeah,
We don't
still,
like cold water.
I hate cold water. If I'm telling you, I was a little dude. I'm in it. I was like 115 pounds soaking wet.
Definitely was not my type at all.
So we were asked to go swimming and everything. So here I am trying to win the attention of this girl, and she goes down the road, gets her swimsuit and stuff, and comes back. And have any of y'all seen the movie National Lampoon's Vacation, where Chevy Chase is out at the pool late at night, and this good-looking woman she jumps into the pool, and she's like, the water's exhilarating. And he jumps in, and he didn't know it was cold. He comes up like like can't breathe and like screams, wakes everybody up in the hotel. This is just about me. Like, I mean, water was cold.
Yeah.
Brother was not moving. Like, my body wanted to go into hibernation and shut down. I think I was just to the point of having hypothermia when we decided to get out of that pool. But the water was so cold, but I won the attention of this young lady and even made an opportunity to snuggle. Like, keep me warm, girl. I need somebody to hold me. And that started it all. So from that point on, we began to hang out, and so she would come over to my house, and we'd hang out. We'd sit and watch TV, really. And I couldn't get 5 words out of this girl. And it wasn't for several months that I learned that she was so outgoing and so positive and so social. But around me, she was locked up tighter than a drum. We'd go out on a date, and she would sit next to the window and just stare at the side view mirror or something, like I was gonna be some kind of crazy attacker. And I would try to say nice things to her, and she would just kind of cut her eyes at me like, "It's not working, buddy." And I tried and tried and tried to win this girl over, and to this day, I'm still trying to make sure that I win this girl over. She is the love of my life. I have such a passion and a desire to grow old with this woman, and so we have 4 beautiful babies. Our oldest, he's actually got his first job. So excited that he's actually making some money instead of just being in my pocket. But they're growing up. Our youngest is 2. So here I am, 40 years old, almost 41, and have a 2-year-old. And so my passion is to make sure that I win this lady over for the rest of our lives. So we meet on the Hatchie River, which some of you might watch this and think that is the most redneck thing ever, but it worked for us. We dated for just about 6 months and got married. Now I'm not talking about we dated about 6 months and then we got engaged. We got engaged in November, the beginning of it, November, end of October. So had just barely over a month to get a wedding planned, and it happened. Yeah. It all worked out pretty cool. So here we are, 18 years later, living a dream. Sometimes seems like maybe it's a nightmare, but our marriage is not perfect, but our marriage works. So here's what I'm trying to tell you today, and what I want you to take from this. I want you to understand that we come from a time that, yeah, we grew up in the 80s. What's up? So we grew up in a time where, like, I was raised to fix what you have. Fix the things that are broken. You don't just go throw away something that's broken and go find something new. So we see that there is so much opportunity, and the struggles have actually drawn us closer. The struggles have been tough nonetheless, but they haven't driven a wedge between us. They haven't caused any issues in our relationship. We've taken everything tough and brought out the positive of it. Because if any of you know anything about olive oil, and many of you probably cook with extra virgin olive oil. The only way you can get oil out of olives is through pressure. If any women are listening right now, women love diamonds. You know how you get diamonds? Pressure. Something from something that's ugly and really, really compressed, and the pressure is overwhelming, turns into something beautiful and something priceless. So the things that we see of our past, even the things that were ugly and should have been tossed aside, those things have been turning our marriage into a diamond, into something that is beautiful and priceless. So in all this, I want you to see that through this journey of our relationship and the things that we go through, you'll see some of the struggles that we've had with our kids, and the struggle of teenagers and stuff like that. It is possible to keep your head straight, to keep your eyes fixed on the prize, and to just continue, because she's worth it all. My children are worth it all. And no matter what I have to do, I'll break my neck, my back, my hands, whatever it takes, but I will risk it all for them. So anything you want to add?
No.
She did great, didn't she? She talked some. I really had to coach her the last few weeks. I'm like, look, babe, you're gonna have to talk. She's not much of a talker, especially on camera, but we're coaching her along. She's gonna get better. So also, I want to throw this in there, just a little bit of Tiff. So she has to explain real quick why she keeps her hair over one side. And why she would not look at me. It wasn't just because she didn't need a man, or she didn't want to date any. So we have 2 minutes left.
2 minutes. Am I giving the whole story? 2 minutes?
You can do it.
I can do it. Okay, so these eyes here, they're beautiful, right? Anyways, was not the whole reason, but it was part of the reason that I wouldn't look at him, because obviously that's not, in my eyes, it's not beautiful to look at. But so I was born with a cataract. They took it off. They took the lens out, because back in the early 80s, that's all they knew how to do to fix it. And we're going to put the lens in when I got older, because your lens grows. But then by the time I got older, they're like, well, we can't put a lens in there now because it'll confuse your brain. So over time, it's just kind of wandered on out. It's this one, by the way. Nickname is Left Eye. I'm not offended. It doesn't bother me. I promise it bothers you way more than it bothers me. But I could have got it straightened in high school, And I chose not to because I wanted someone to marry me for me and not necessarily for my looks. So God saw fit. I don't know why he thinks I'm beautiful, but I I guess God just has him blinded by love. I don't know. But so that's the whole deal. If it bothers you, I'm sorry. It doesn't bother me. And that is why, part of the reason why, that's why I wouldn't take the sunglasses off. Not why I wouldn't look at him. I just was determined I wasn't going to give him attention. But obviously all that changed and here we are.
All right. So tell us what you think. Give us some comments. Things you like, things that you wanted us to discuss down the road. We'll take suggestions and things like that, because we want you guys to be a part of this. We want each and every one of you that watches to know that this is real, that we're not necessarily scripted, and we're not trying to be something that we're not. We're real people, and we don't have this glamorous lifestyle. Because I'll be completely honest with you that we live in a tiny house. We live in just over 600 square feet.
That's a different story for a different day.
Right. So it's not glamorous. We're not well off or anything like that. But I work hard every day. I have 2 jobs. I'm not just a pastor. I'm also a forklift technician. I go and work at least 40 hours, but about 50 hours a week on average. And so it's a real world out there, and we live in it. So we're not sheltered, and we're not hiding from anything. But we want you guys to know that we're real and that we're here with you. So if you got questions, or you got a topic that you want us to discuss and how we've made it through things, just let us know, and we'll be sure to address it. So you can find us on our YouTube channel. We'll post a link for it, and you can post comments and stuff on our Facebook page. So here we are. So just look us up. You'll see the little banner, and let us know. So keep in touch. Wait for the next video. We'll probably put out a couple short ones this week, but we'll be back again next Sunday night at 8 p.m. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again. Anything from you?
Like and share, guys.